was listening to Mos Def, man. Like Mos Def was incredibly gifted. It still is. I feel like did Mos Def start the whole singing, rapping thing for like male rap solo artists? I mean, I know some people trace it down to CeeLo, but I think CeeLo and Lauren are a little bit different when they played their roles in their respective groups.
Hey,
But
Mike.
like as far as like Mos Def being able to go out there rhyming, then singing for a second, and then rhyming heavy again, was he the one that just kind of broke that barrier down and not get credit for it?
Mike, it's possible because when you said that, I immediately thought about Umi Says, and I'm like, well, he's kind of rhyming, but he's kind of not, but he's kind of scatting, but he's kind of singing, but it's kind of all hip hop when Moses doing
No
it.
one ever questioned it. I
Nobody
always felt
ever
like, yo,
questioned it because it feels like hip hop.
mm-hmm. Because I was listening to the song Brooklyn the other day, and he's doing everything on there.
Yeah, he
And
is,
I'm
but it
like,
feels like hip hop.
I truly feel like, I mean, we're going to go down another rabbit hole. I feel like there was a plan for Mos Def, man. I think Mos Def was supposed to be a superstar. He was getting all kind of opportunities. He's super talented on the mic, incredible actor on top of that. And he just said, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like the face of. You remember when MTV used to do like the Lyricist Lounge show, whatever that sketch comedy show? He was the face of that.
It's the face of a lot of
He
stuff.
was the face. I mean, he's damn near on the Chappelle show.
I mean,
He
Mike,
he.
he's kind of the face of that whole
Mm-hmm.
MC Cypher lyricist backpack
Period.
movement. Most
No, he
most of the
was the
face of
face of
that.
that.
Most is the face of that. Like I said, he's the face of a lot of things for his time, low key.
Yeah.
And
And
hold on,
that's
Mike,
why they had him in that Carmen movie with Beyonce. Like, you know what I'm
Mike,
saying? Like, he was the face of that.
but
The hip
deservedly so.
opera.
Though, Mike. No, but deservedly so though, Mike.
Of
It's
course. He
not like
carried
none of
it.
that was warranted. He was super talented on all levels. Yeah.
I think, I mean, just when I listen to most rhyme, and I've always said this, like, when you talk about somebody who's just extremely naturally gifted, and he could spit a 16, it don't even sound like he's trying. And the shit is dope. And I think that's what I mean. And not to get back on Eminem or anything, but that's kind of what I mean when I'm talking about, people trying. And I said the same thing about the Big Sean verse that was on Russ's album. Yeah, the verse is dope, but it sounds like you're really trying. Most never had to do that.
Most
Never.
don't try.
Never. He was just so
Oh,
dope, so
Mike, you want to
comfortable.
know what one of my favorite things are from him? It's actually some of that Chappelle show stuff. It's the What's Beef verse
Crazy.
and the car ride,
And the
Mike.
car ride was I remember when that came on because I used to watch the Chappelle show like
Right.
when it came on. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like in awe, and I'm like, this
We were
dude
all in
is.
awe, Mike. It wasn't just you. We were
It's
all
like
sitting
this
there with
dude,
each other.
man.
Like this guy different.
It's fucking
Hey,
natural, man. Like
like,
it's
how about this? This is what I'm talking about. Remember when I was talking about the bell-shaped curve and how when you put certain things on a bell-shaped curve, so like when you put most on like his curve, which is just like that. Mike, he has a natural rapping agility.
it's crazy. It's hard to explain.
Crazy. And when he gets in that natural rapping agility zone, oh, can't nobody fuck with most. Nobody.
No, and
No.
people are in the comments, singing his praises as well. The New
Yeah.
Danger was brought up. I remember when I bought the New Danger the first day it came out, and again, I think Mos Def was so ahead of so many things. He made an album that I didn't want to hear from him at the time. I wanted to hear him rap, but
Mike, it's still uneven. It's still an uneven
but
product.
it's interesting though. When I went back and listened to the New Danger maybe like a year or so ago, it sounded much better to me now than it did then. You know what I'm saying? Like some of that stuff aged really well because I think he was so ahead of what was going on. You
And
know what I
also,
mean?
Mike, you want to know what that also says? That also says Black on Both Sides really didn't get the total credit it deserved when it came out, too.
Black on Both Sides is so dope, but it still sounds like even as great as he was on there, he was just scratching the surface. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
even when you listen to him on like Mr. Nigga or something, like it's dope. But
It's
you
not
could
all the way there.
yeah, it's like he's better than this even. Like he's even better than
It's better
this.
than that.
Right.
Right. It's better than that.
Cause
Yeah.
like I said, I was listening to Brooklyn the other day. When he comes in on that um well, the second part of it, it's a Roy Ayers sample. The dude is crazy. He didn't even have to go into that who shot your part. Like he could have just kept it there, and it was just so effortless, man. Like,
Oh, Mike, you want to know? So this is what I'm talking about, and why Eminem could never be like the GOAT, because there are guys like Most, when he steps up and performs and does stuff like "What's Beef" and contextualize it, but still entertains you, like by breaking it down. Beef is not what Jay said to Nas. Beef is when broke niggas can't find jobs. You feel what I'm saying? He's not saying anything necessarily even lyrically complex, but the way he contextualizes it,
you
the
remember
way
his
he
verse
flows.
on the Hurricane soundtrack?
What did he say? Beef is the Palestine and Gaza Strip. You get what I'm saying? You don't got to be super lyrical to get your point across.
I mean,
And
even his
so,
verse on 2 words on the College Dropout,
two
like
words.
that's not even like super complex. It's like 2 words, United
Calm
States, no
down,
love,
fall
no
back.
breaks. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, low brow, high stakes, crack smoke, black folks, Big Macs, fat folks, ecstasy, capsules, presidential scandals. Everybody move. What? Like, I don't need like all the,
Right.
lyrical
So,
individual smooth criminal shit. Like, come on now. Like, we don't need that. Like,
no. So that's why M to me is a dope MC, but not in the GOAT conversation. Because a guy like Most, when he shows up and does stuff like that, it's like, oh, well, you can't tell me that guy is the greatest MC of all time when Most can step in like that.
and you could tell that he's not even really trying like that.
He
Like, it's
just ripped.
effortless. You remember his verse on that Hurricane soundtrack, the Hurricane song, where he was talking about time, where he was like, "I am the inescapable, the irreplaceable. Who that?
Yeah.
I am
Like,
time."
like,
I
man, I
hope
heard that song and like, man, what you're talking about? Like,
that
God,
shit is brilliant, man. And it's like,
yeah, he's brilliant.
yeah. But anyway, before I went on that most deaf tangent, he needs his flowers. But I really wish that the opportunity that Common was able to get working with Kanye, I wish we could have gotten that with Most Def around that time. It seemed like it was bubbling, but again, I think that Most is just one of those people. At least at that time, it's like, look, I'm cool, man. You know what I mean? Like he didn't want to play the industry game. Seems like because it
Well,
seems like everything was laid out for him. All the opportunities were laid out for him. He was in Brown Sugar at the time. Most Def was everywhere. He,
no, I
like you
told you,
said, he
like,
was
he
the
was low
face
key
of
the
that.
face of a lot of stuff. If you look around that time frame,
Yeah.
about 2-3 year period where you're like, man, Most everywhere, shining.
Because if you remember correctly, in the music industry at the time, they had that whole neo soul movement going on, right? And they put out all the India Aries, the Jill Scotts, the Music Soul Child, and everybody was going under this whole neo soul umbrella. And I think Most Def was supposed to be the face of that when it came to hip hop, because you had that whole mainstream hip hop, and then you still had the roots, Most Def, Calm, Talib, and all of that. And now Talib was doing the work to be the face of it, but Most Def was just Most Def. You know what I'm saying? Because Talib was coming out with a whole bunch of efforts, and Reflection Eternal dropped a very dope album, and then he dropped Quality. But when you make an album with somebody like a Most Def, and like you said, Most Def was in the stride that he was in, people were looking for Most Def. Shit, I know I was, man. I ain't even gonna front, man. I was looking on them Talib albums like, where Most Def at?
Look around
But
for Most everywhere after a
but
while,
that
and then you
goes
just
for
realize,
anything, right? When the Lyricist Lounge stuff came out, where's Most Def song at? When the Rockets stuff came out, where's Most Def's verse?
sound bombing, Mike. As soon as I sound bomb, I'm like, where Most at?
Yeah, when the sound bomb was dropping, I'm like, where Most Def at?
Where
He
Most
was the
at?
face of that shit, and I think that, you know, I think where, let's say Common specifically, where Common was able to take it, I think that was supposed to be Most's spot, but Most didn't want it.
Well, Mike, and I'm gonna say something to you too. So, styles make fights. Is Most a better songwriter than Common though?
I think I think he could have been, but that's
You don't
not
have enough
proven.
proof to back up the
I don't have
sentiment.
proof to back up that.
Right.
All I got is like you said, the eye test.
Oh, the
I
eye
think
test.
that I
The
think
eye
that
test.
which song do you think is more impressive, The Light or Miss Fat Booty?
Oh, Mike, I play Miss Fat Booty way more than I play The Light, and I think both the records are brilliant, and I love the message of The Light. But man, Most is breathtaking, man.
I mean, he had two 24-bar verses on a single, and
Yeah.
it didn't matter.
She walked
And he
away
was
smiling,
just telling
singing Gary
stories.
Isaac. If I don't, if I don't, if I do. That's what I'm talking about. He started singing
Yeah.
for me.
Showing me
Showing
a tan line and a tattoo, playing Sade, Sweetest Taboo, burning candles. All my other plans got canceled.
so,
But I do think that when you talk about songwriting or whatnot, he's more versatile. If I had one, listen, if they both were locked in, and I'm a record executive, I need one song. Give me Most Def, man.
really? As a record exec?
Give me one song.
As
Yes.
an MC, I'm gonna tell you that. As a record exec, I'm gonna tell you no.
I don't know. Does any of Common songs have more legs than Umi says?
I mean, Mike, if you really want to know the truth, I think The Light has more legs actually than all of those records. I just don't find the record to be better. Like The Light's still getting played. Like The Light gets played on like R&B contemporary radio stations
I hadn't
like
heard the
daily.
light in a minute. I mean, but you hear Umi says on like commercials and all of that. Like,
I mean, Mike, Umi Says is just one of my favorite songs, like in life, period. Like that's like a required playlist song if I'm going somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
yo, Kendall
So,
Outlaw says, Mike D, has anyone ever told you you look like Method Man? You know what? I was on the MARTA one time, and somebody said that. That was like 15 years ago. That's crazy, man. You know, my mom texted me this morning and was like, Cliff Method Man is on Kelly in the morning because I guess he's doing the promotion for the Power or whatnot. And I was like, yeah, mom, man, that was like my first favorite rapper. She was like, he looks like he's your age. I was like, nah, man, Method Man like 51. Black don't crack, man. Good for Method Man. And yes,
that's,
Method Man was I think we were talking about this last episode. I think he was my first favorite rapper.
mm-hmm.
And it's
No, I
good
love
to
it.
see him doing his thing, man. So, it's funny. He says that. I was listening to Method Man all morning after my mom texted me that. But How High changed my life.
She put you in a whole zone.
Yeah, How
So,
High changed my life.